So bond measures are submitted to the voters. On occasion, bond measures are required to be submitted to the voters of the state of California, and that's found in the California Elections Code, Division 9, Chapter 5. And it provides several statutory provisions related to bond issuances. They're contained in Elections Code sections 9400 to 9405. And 9400 of the government code specifies that this chapter 5 applies to all bonds issued by counties, cities, districts, or other political subdivisions of the state, or by any agency, department, or board, the security for which constitutes a lien on the property for ad valorem property tax purposes within that particular jurisdiction, and the proposal for which it's required to be submitted to the voters for approval. Now, Section 9401 requires that in connection with each bond issue, a statement is to be mailed to the voters with the sample ballot for that bond election. And this statement that's required by this section of the Elections Code has to be filed with the elections official who's conducting that particular election not later than the 88th day before the scheduled election. And the statement has to contain some specified information, including the best estimate for average annual tax rate, the highest tax rate, and the total debt service that'll occur. In addition, the statement has to contain a declaration of policy of the legislative branch or the governing body of that local jurisdiction that's proposing to use the revenues other than ad valorem property taxes to fund the bond issuance, as well as the best estimate from that official source or two of the revenues and the reductions in the tax rate levied to fund the bond issue. In section 9402 of the Elections Code, it requires all official materials to contain a statement of the tax rate data. And those materials include any voter information guide that's prepared or sponsored or distributed by the local jurisdiction that has proposed the bond issuance, or that's financed in whole or in part by funds that have been furnished by the jurisdiction and that are directed at or include the bond issue. And then section 9403 provides that the failure to comply with the provisions of Chapter 5 does not affect the validity of any bond issue following its sale and the delivery of those bonds. Section 9404 makes a legislative declaration that the essence of compliance with Chapter 5 is good faith in presenting to the voters the most accurate available information for their use in determining comparisons and exercising judgment when they're casting their ballots. Finally, there's section 9405 of the Elections Code that specifies that whenever the elections official is required to mail a statement to the public, to the voters, that only one copy of the statement is mailed to a postal address where two or more registered voters have the same surname and the same postal address.